Charlotte hier hansa, Bichinsche, Friwa, Kanya, Sahara, and John. Has, and Sugar Palace, Kanama Hamagan, Yummy, Yanijia, White, others about Hasha, the Shaman of Oshboy. Agus Begum no Stab, Government, Agus Government. Margaron Jora, Shaluga Frasas. This Negron, Ugly Shal, they have a Doris, Wells of the Zishal Allah, Hero Sur Chayum, Sagomba, Sagaja. I get the lead, Shalun the Yon. That is the last. From Sir Hara and Yon, we have got here in the home. The Stacumpli als via heart, or Kenu Mihamo. Because in yesterday, I was sure I made a new film, I was going to Gujet Jan in Gujet Fa. Kumpli alles via van Kassa. Waar een staafje mocht in Shaw uit een organisatie en Shaw had een nieuwe huis. Dus een olie af de jaren bij hem, als daar kan een jaar was. Kindje, niet de hagema naar Valencia te heen. Hier ook heel ook wat, lekker maar, vestig hem, harde, voor hij naar Valencia. En naast kwam daarna, als dollar weet ik ja. Dus wat je hier zegt, ja, kansen avisa, agus agus combination, gigajar mi halal, the Frencha, after more, Scotch after more, dan football shop, agus dan football van Kambay, van de Naal. Niet de heilige van de after more, Frencha. Al met een shot nu, een kanya, heb je haar more. Dus die waren, haar vader ons aan de werk. Niet heel snel van, maar we moeten zo kunnen doen, dan kunnen we naar beneden. Maar als het probleem is, dan gaan we goed aan de sfeer heen maken. Zo kan ik je dingen naar beneden.
All right, Michael.
Right, Ken. Ready to move now? No, hello?
I know you. Here now, I asked by agus a charge. Currams a ninyam cost the Kirchnehan Vialog McFadden agus our son Pupil Kilcar, currams a false Rob Shalig, a Hanig and Shahanu. Guji Kelever Kirchnehan Vialog McFadden. A full boss could bring the seal hen, agus ta curra ensign running bug shaw, a nacha Srajwala Kilcar, arch or Kaishe a heel. Neilog McFadden, far a holy, a mala Kilcar, a Kuchilis the dingy, a been a corler the dala, the Shanadar, Scrivener, fella. Gael, August, Pitchum is Tawik the Rutherby, Gaeligar, and Waiher Fad. Dinja vi a Durapta, the Wahangi, Guhish, August, Chiam on Mage, Dinja Ata Alar and Shah, Niawan on Chantar Hart Doring, Acho, Gahalat, or Fud, come the here Conel, August O'Morn Archer, Fud Nahirin, Gorwan was egg na milche dinge Vialog McFadden. Anesh Carwa Jas Tazaim agus the Slew Borelar and Shaw agus the Brishan Currenshe and Lower Autumnsha Falsha a Correv far a Hannigan Shaw o Malaclia far the Haila Aro Anyokel ar Vialog McFadden ar van a blinte fada. Far a hen a cui Guji and Punches Orja and Sentil Politicula. Agus a fair and Gradamus Orjan of the Shin Liam Wakoska. Your Lordship, Bishop Seamus, and the celebration of this commemoration to Michael Ó McFadden, who died 25 years ago, and he's buried in this little graveyard beside that little town of southwestern Gaul known as Kilcar. He spent his life there. He's working very hard in many ways for the people, not alone of his immediate area, but for the people of the county and for many others throughout the country. He was a TD, a senator, an advisor, a writer, a poet. He was a man who believed very strongly in all Irish cultural activities, but especially in our native language, the Irish language. And much of his writings are done in the Irish language. It is obvious from the large congregation of people here today who came to help us in the celebration of this memoriam to Michael Ó. It is obvious that he was held in very high esteem by hundreds from the immediate area here, but from the people throughout Kilcar, to welcome you all here and to give a special Céad Míle Fáilte to a man who has come here from Dublin all the way, a man belonging to a historic family who were lifelong friends of Michael Ó McFadden, and a man who himself achieved the highest in the political field, and that is Liam Corston. And now I ask Liam to come forward and to address you for some time on Michael Ó McFadden. Liam Corston, the Michael Minister.
Here na haspi aharaka Aristot Chapsi Dala agus a Shanadori agus a Gwinush de Galer Tá anas or behan sho Lain you kun almost a horta Michael Ó McFadden almost a ta tilte gomahige Be Misha agus fein in our gorge the dal ner fai more on bliente Cashi a hail a gober son muincher new na gaul agus ag fécin chuig a níochtánaí. Ní amháin go raibh ólas a gcéthar an Gaeilge agus litríochtach agus cultúr Gaeltach ar bhí fan méid a roireacht na hÉireann. Tá sé ceart go mébhís an seo an lá aniu chun a cuine comóra in Baile Dúchais Kilcar. Lord Bishop, Reverend Fathers, Minister, Deputy Senators, and people of Kilcar, it's a great pleasure and honour for me to be asked to come here today to speak a few words about my old friend Michael Ó McFadden. With Oliver Flanagan, he and I were together in the Dáil for a number of years. There were only a few of us left who were with him at that time, and it was always an honour and a privilege to work with him. He was first of all a great Christian. He was a great friend. He was a most cultured, learned man, largely self-taught, and his prime and main interest was to serve the welfare of all sections of the people. It didn't matter who you were or what you were. If you approached Michael Ó, he was anxious and willing to help. And the fact that so many people have come here this afternoon, 25 years after his death, to pay tribute to him is in itself an estimate of how he was held in such high esteem by all the people. As Oliver Flanagan said to me, we're not remembered now, never mind 25 years after our death. And we in the Dáil knew him well because he was one of the few deputies who always spoke in Irish. But as well as speaking in Irish, he was a man of great culture and learning. And I need hardly tell you that TDs do well with a little bit of culture at times. And he was a man who always had a practical positive approach to the problems, particularly the problems of the Gaeltacht, and especially here in Donegal. He was largely responsible for having the local industries established here, not only in Kilcar, but he recognised the value of the fishing industry, and where was that more important than beside you here in Killybegs. He worked for and advocated the establishment of cottage industries. He was responsible with others in the Dáil for realising that no progress could be made unless steps were taken to provide assistance so that people could have proper housing. And the Gaeltacht housing grants were introduced largely through the advocacy of himself and other colleagues from the Gaeltacht like Josie Mongan. And the fact that there are now so many nice and good proper housing facilities available not only in the Gaeltacht but elsewhere was due to the work and the effort and the enthusiasm and the drive which he inspired. In addition to that, he was responsible for recognising the value of rural electrification, and he was one of those who advocated that Donegal would one of be the first places benefiting from rural electrification, thereby justifying the pioneering confidence of those who established the Shannon scheme. Above all else, he was a devout Christian with a real love of his neighbour, and he worked fearlessly to help anyone who was in need of his assistance. As I said earlier, although he was extremely well educated, he was largely self-taught. He read widely, he travelled extensively, he knew Irish, not only the Irish language, but Irish literature and Irish history. And his reading and knowledge was extensive, which demonstrated clearly the extent of his varied life. He was a tireless worker on behalf of everyone, and the fact that he was so realised and appreciated for his integrity in his life has been exemplified and shown clearly today by the very large number who have come here to honour him. He was admired by all who knew him, not only public representatives in the Dáil, in the County Council, in the Senate. And it's right that we should be here today, that his memory should be revered now, as his integrity was recognised in his lifetime. I regard it as a special honour to be invited here to participate in these celebrations, to pay tribute to his memory, and to say how pleased I am to see his sister here this afternoon in such good form. It's a great honour that to commemorate his memory, you have his lordship here, who is, as you know better than I do, a native of the parish. It's a great pleasure to be invited here to say these few words, because he made an indelible impression on people like Oliver and myself. At that time we were younger men, now we're not so young, but we appreciated the culture he brought to the Dáil, and those of us who have been in it appreciate the need for that then and now. So I'm very pleased to be here this afternoon to pay a few words of well-deserved tribute to Michael Ó, to thank the committee for their kind invitation, and especially to congratulate the committee on bringing together so many people to commemorate his memory. On your behalf, I'd like to thank the bands for the music, the FCA for honouring his memory, and particularly to thank the younger members in the bands for the very fine tunes they played on the way down from the church. It's a very pleasant afternoon. We're commemorating a great Irishman, a man who served the people not only of his native parish but of Donegal and of Ireland well. So nene de atokra aranam. Agus a nisha cardja the Liam a
Oscar Cur Bly last no Rees a Rui Vialog McFadden. Now Mr. Carter will place a wreath on the grave of Michael Ó McFadden. The wreath has been brought forward now, and I would like the civil defence people to open a pathway down there. It's a fairly long distance, but I see that he's a very active man yet, so I think this wee bit of PT training will do no harm with it. Bugler plays the last post. The flag will be hoisted, and after a slight pause, the bugler will play the ball. So we wanted attention for this part, the very serious part of the ceremony.
Shedava with Atlant the grass at time Chirnat the Spani who the Brag the Spani Torah the Franisa. Shedava with Atlant the grass at time Chirnat the Spani who the Brag the Spani Torah the Franisa. Shedava with Atlant the grass at time Chirnat the Spani who the Brag the Spani Torah the Franisa. Suab na shiri tor da hierda. Gowi anam agus anam nam na viri na lig suab na shiri tre chrach rejay. And I'm gonna have to give us a spirit new.
Gratitude to so many folks for this wonderful turnout and for the wonderful arrangements that were made for us. First of all, the committee, some 14 or 15 people. You know who you are. You know the endless hours you worked. You know. If you were a good working committee, you raised a hackle or two, a misunderstanding or two. I hope you did. Proves that you were working very diligently. You had to make many decisions and change them. I hope you did, and I hope you kept your cool and your good sense of humor. And today, with the sun shining down on you, warming your hearts, I'm sure you're delighted that you went through all of that nice work. Our Lord Bishop, who broke into a very busy weekend schedule to be with us here, it does not escape me that Michael Ó, the politician, has a young lad from Kilcar as the Bishop of Raphoe. I don't know if there was any balloting there. As in my country, I'm glad to see so many government ministers who spend most of their lives disagreeing with one another here today, all in agreement on the great stature of a man whom they are honoring, Michael Ó. They have agreed this day to set aside their disagreements to be with us, the government ministers, the members of Parliament, the senators, the county councillors, and our gratitude especially, and I think you will agree with me, our former Prime Minister, Liam Cosgrave, who spoke so eloquently and who translated all of his remarks into English so I could understand them. Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister, wherever you are. Since we do have so many politicians here, perhaps I could put a plug in for a new contest. You always have tidy towns and tidy this and so on. How about a contest for tidy cemeteries and let's enter Kilcar? Isn't it lovely? Didn't they do a fine job on our cemetery? I have two men here whom I'd like to thank. They have the good fortune of being my first cousins. Father Pat McShane from Falcarra, formerly of Kilcar, of course, and Father Dermot McShane, who is now the godfather of Kilcar. I also have a lot of cousins in the territory. I come to visit and get fat off them, but Father Podrick and Father Dermot are two of them. The bands and the church choir, Michael Ó would certainly have been delighted to have had the music people here today. We, in closing, we wish to extend our gratitude to Mr. Michael O'Donnell, who has the plaque on the old McFadden house over here, where indeed many a time I went in to get fed as well, back in the seminary days. There are many, many others. I've left out zillions of you. Don't feel disheartened. Just know that I think I'm practically the final speaker of the day, so let that gladden your heart as well. And Michael Ó, what would he think of all of this fine assemblage here today? Well, I'll tell you. He'd look down with a great big chuckle. He'd be all mirthful, saying, what a bunch of to do about nothing. But we know better. The fact that you and countless thousands of others whose lives he touched could not be here today, the fact is that we are here each for our own reasons. And we know that this man was not much ado about nothing, but he's always much ado about everything that had to do with the human condition. May he rest in peace. Thank you.
Now, a few final announcements, and I'd like everybody to listen to them very carefully. A plaque will be unveiled now over at the old house or in the village, just as you go into the village, for any stranger who doesn't know where it is, but I'm sure most of the people here know where it is. And the bands will lead off the parade back again to the village. Now, they're going to go out to the right. We'd like the people to go out after the band, round to the right, in order that the bands will get round without any hindrance. And Mr. Corston will unveil the plaque there, and then the band will play the soldier song. That will be the final of this part of the evening. Of course, later on, I want you all to come and shake your leg at the Killian Old Time to keep things going at that later on in the night. So thank you again from my heart. Thank everybody that came here and anybody that helped in any way to make this a success. Thank you very much.